Good evening. You're watching the news tonight, your daily roundup of all that has happened across India and the world. I'm Ishan Russell, and these are the headlines that we're tracking this evening. Supreme Court issues notice to government on decision to impose central rule in Arunachal Pradesh, seeks response by Friday. Union Cabinet approves proposal to raise 17 India Reserve battalions for Jammu and Kashmir and left-wing extremism affected states. Protests against Rohit Vemula's suicide escalate as Central University students join the call for a nationwide strike. India improves its position in the public perception of corruption, up from 94th place in 2013. Transparency International places it at the 76th spot in a list of 168 countries. And Denmark triggers controversy with tough immigration jewelry law. New policy empowers police to confiscate valuables of refugees to pay for their stay. The top story this evening, the Supreme Court on Wednesday issued notices to the Union government and the governor of Arunachal Pradesh, asking them to file a reply by Friday on the implementation of President's rule in Arunachal Pradesh. The governor sought to maintain the secrecy of his report recommending President's rule, even as the Congress, which has filed a petition against implementation of President's rule, opposed it. The matter will be next heard on Monday.
The Supreme Court came down heavily on the centre on Wednesday, seeking relevant material that would back its claim that there has been a failure of constitutional machinery in Arunachal Pradesh. The apex court asked the governor to furnish his report that led to the implementation of President's rule in the state. The court also wanted to know why it was not apprised about the latest development. Issuing a notice to the centre and the governor, the court asked them to file a reply by Friday and posted the matter for Monday.
The governor and the Union of India is to place the report in a sealed envelope before the court, at the earliest. The court wants to know, ये देखना चाहते हैं कि report के अंदर क्या है, क्या grounds हैं जिसके ऊपर ये proclamation जारी हुई है.
So far as the reports submitted by the Honorable Governor to the central government and to the President of India about the situation, law and order situation in the state is concerned, they are confidential documents. They are between the Governor as the President of India or the Cabinet Secretary.
The five-judge Constitution bench led by Justice J.S. Kheher issued the notice on a petition filed by the Congress party. In its petition, the party said the proclamation of emergency was a result of a conspiracy by the centre and the governor to pull down the ruling Congress party in the state.
Will Modi ji and Modi government answer as to why was President rule imposed when Supreme Court's Constitution bench is hearing the matter, and what is gross emergency? Will Modi ji answer, is it not true that Congress has 46 MLAs and BJP only has 12 MLAs? Do they want to buy MLAs and consequently topple an elected government?
Since it is a sub judice in the Supreme Court, is hearing the matter, and I am full faith in judiciary. We'll wait for the outcome of the.
The political turmoil in the state has seen the impeachment of the Assembly Speaker, legislative session held in community halls, and the governor under attack for playing partisan. The centre has justified its action, saying the crisis amount to violation of the Constitution's Article 174(1). It prescribes there should not be a gap of more than 6 months between two sessions of a state assembly. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And we're joined by Rajya Sabha MP and Senior Advocate at the Supreme Court, Mr. Kerry Tulsi, to help us understand, Mr. Tulsi, as far as the parties to this controversy go, the Congress, the BJP and the central government and the governor. Now, who's on a strong wicket in this one?
You see, in this case, the Supreme Court wants to study the report of the governor, and so therefore the direction has been given to provide the report to the bench in sealed cover. They want to see whether the report of the governor will match, so far as the grounds are concerned, with the proclamation of the president. And also the court is concerned about the powers of the governor. In a parliamentary system, the governor is the titular head and has to act on the advice of the Council of Ministers. And in this case, even when the assembly session had been called by the governor himself for the 14th of December, it was preponed. And then there are allegations with regard to the misuse of the office of the governor and Raj Bhavan for engineering defections. And the preponement was done without the advice of the Council of Ministers, and it is alleged that the preponement was only to ensure that no time is given for the MLAs to change their mind. So if they were apprehending that there's going to be a change of mind, perhaps it was only an arm-twisting exercise that was done by the governor at the behest of the centre. Earlier one thought that it is perhaps the role of the governor alone which is under question, but what has transpired later is that with the developments with regard to proclamation, that whatever the governor was doing was perhaps, it is being alleged, at the behest of the central government. So central government role is equally now going to be examined by the court after the response has been filed.
All right, and do you think this is in kind of a castigation of the central government by the Supreme Court questioning its role and wanting more details? And as far as moving forward from here is concerned, in terms of law often always goes by precedent. So what have we seen in our history to help us understand and to move forward with this case better?
You see, the Supreme Court has observed, according to the reports, I was not there in the court, that it's too serious a matter. Now, that only shows that there is a 5-judge bench hearing the matter, and they are also going to examine not only the powers of the governor, but also how is this federal structure going to function. If allegations like this are going to take place, the federal structure is going to be under strain. So that is exactly what the court is going to do, and they have sought the report, and they want to examine the report. After that, the further hearing will take place.
All right, but as far as precedence is concerned, in terms of our history, as I was just asking you, there have been instances where such allegations have cropped up, and irrespective of who's in power, when the Congress was in power, these allegations have cropped up time and again of interference by the governor, of interference by the Raj Bhavan. Do you see this this matter
right.
now in court ending all those controversies and India having a clear understanding of the powers of the governor vis-a-vis the powers of government?
Well, the Supreme Court has tried to end these controversies a number of times. The last case was of the Bihar Assembly. But the question really is that this has got to be examined as to how can parliamentary system function, how can cooperative federalism or federalism at all be permitted to ride a roughshod. And the Supreme Court has held repeatedly that there is judicial review available of the order of proclamation of imposing a president's rule under 356. So therefore, all this is now before the court, and it's in the melting pot. It's going to be examined and is going to be put through the microscope.
All right, so we'll have to wait till Monday to find out what happens more on this. Mr. K.T. Sulti, thank you very much for coming in and helping us understand this a little better. Well, moving on now, the Union Cabinet approved 17 India Reserve battalions for Jammu and Kashmir and states affected by left-wing extremism. It's also approved an increase of 200 crores in the authorized share capital of the National Scheduled Caste Finance and Development Corporation.
The Union Cabinet on Wednesday approved 17 Indian Reserve battalions by Jammu and Kashmir and left-wing extremism affected states. Of these, 5 will be in Kashmir, 4 in Chhattisgarh, 3 each in Jharkhand and Odisha, and 2 in Maharashtra. Focus will be on recruiting local youths, filling 60% posts of constables and Class 4 staff in Jammu and Kashmir from border districts, filling 75% posts of constable from 27 core districts in other states. The Cabinet also approved enhancement of authorized share capital of the National Scheduled Caste Finance and Development Corporation from 1,000 crore rupees to 1,200 crore rupees. In an attempt to revive highway projects, the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs also approved the hybrid annuity model as one of the modes of delivery to implement highway projects. Vishal Dahiya's report for Rajya Sabha Television.
Now, 10 days after the suicide of Hyderabad University student Rohit Vemula, the protests are only intensifying. The call for a nationwide strike by central universities today got a tremendous response as students of reputed varsities like JNU joined in the protest. In Chennai, dozens of students were detained for demonstrating against Union Ministers Smriti Irani and Bandaru Dattatreya. More details in the story.
It's been 10 days since Dalit scholar Rohit Vemula committed suicide. But protests at the Hyderabad Central University show no signs of fading. A fresh batch of students joined the hunger strike after the condition of the previous group of 6 students worsened on Wednesday. Some of them were forcibly taken to the hospital, but the protesting students vowed to continue with the strike till their demands are met.
इनकी स्थिति ऐसी है कि वो बोल भी नहीं पा रहे हैं. अभी जब वो बात कर रहे हैं तब भी हेडेक हो रहा है, उनको चक्कर आ रहा है और इनकी हेल्थ भी बहुत तेजी से डिटीरियरेट हो रही है.
Our demand is only unless until if we are not get our demands, we won't leave our this struggle. Why? Because our first primary demand is VC Apparao should be removed that VC post. Why? Because this is we are doing here as a project just to social justice for Rohit Vemula, not for any compensation or any employment anything. Only for the justice.
Among the students' demands is the ouster of Vice Chancellor P. Apparao, who is currently on leave, and the promulgation of the Rohit Act aimed at preventing suicide of university students belonging to scheduled castes, backward classes and minorities.
Go back, go back. We want justice. We want justice. We want justice.
The interim Vice Chancellor's appeals to end the protest have fallen on deaf ears. In fact, the agitating students have threatened to intensify the stir in the coming days, with Rohit's birthday on Saturday, the 30th of January, to be marked with the Chalo Delhi protest.
This protest will go on and we are going to intensify the protest. Till now, no government official has come to talk to us. So we are going to intensify the protest. Already in overall India, all the central universities are protesting again, already shut down, and we are going to stall this thing again.
On Wednesday, the protest reached nationwide as student organizations from different central universities observed a one-day strike demanding justice for Rohit Vemula. In Chennai, nearly 60 students were detained for demonstrating against Union Ministers Smriti Irani and Bandaru Dattatreya. Massive protests were also held at the JNU campus in Delhi.
हम डिमांड करते हैं कि आत्महत्याओं को रोकने के लिए एक कमेटी बनी थी सरकार के द्वारा, प्रोफेसर सुखदेव थोराट की. उस थोराट कमेटी के रिकमेंडेशंस को लागू किया जाए. साथ ही साथ जो कल्प्रिट्स हैं इस केस में इन्वॉल्व हैं, चाहे वो स्मृति ईरानी हो, चाहे वो दत्तात्रेय हो, चाहे अप्पाराव हो, इनको इस्तीफा देना पड़ेगा, इनके ऊपर कार्रवाई करनी पड़ेगी सरकार को.
Meanwhile, Rohit Vemula's father has sought a judicial probe into his son's death. There's a bigger issue than caste discrimination that forced his son to commit suicide. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Time now to take a look at what else is making news around the country and nationwide. Pakistan has arrested 45 Indian fishermen for allegedly violating its territorial waters. The authorities also took their boats into custody. The fishermen, who belong to Gujarat, have been handed over to the Docks police station in Karachi. The arrested fishermen were charged under the Foreign Act and Fisheries Act. Scores of sanitation workers today staged a protest outside Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's residence in Delhi, threatening to go on indefinite strike if their salaries were not immediately released. The employees are also seeking regularization of contract-based employees and unification of 3 civic bodies. Higher reaches of Kashmir, including tourist resorts of Gulmarg and Pahalgam, received fresh snowfall. Cold wave conditions continue to prevail in several parts of North India, with dense fog disrupting rail services. The minimum temperatures have dropped in Gulmarg to minus 5.4 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, Pahalgam recorded a temperature of minus 2.3 degrees Celsius. Maintaining that women have the right to pray, Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis has favoured a dialogue between authorities of the Shani Shingnagpur temple and activists. This came after 350 women activists were stopped by police as they tried to break a 400-year-old tradition banning women from entering its sacred sanctum. Time for us to take a short break. Lots more on the other side. Do stay tuned.
Gyan Chopper is the ancient version of Indian snakes and ladders. This intriguing game was popular among the old, the young and the rulers as well. The chopper has its origin in the Jain philosophy. It tells the story of virtue. Each square in turn also narrates a message of wisdom.
Welcome back. You're watching the news tonight. Now, India has improved its Global Graft Perception Index by 9 places, according to the latest data released by the global watchdog Transparency International. For 2015, India stands at the 76th place out of 168 countries with a score of 38 from a possible 100. India was placed at 85th position in 2014 despite having the same score. In 2013, we were at 94 with a marginally lower score of 36. The index is based on expert opinions from public sector, taking into account a wide range of factors, whether leaders are held to account or go unpunished for corruption, perceived prevalence of bribery, and whether public institutions respond to citizens' needs. Globally, there seems to be an overall improvement in corruption alleviation. Denmark is the least corrupt as it retained its top ranking with 91 out of a possible 100 points. The US rose 1 spot to 16th place this year with a score of 76. The UK rose 3 spots to take the 10th place with a score of 81. Somalia and North Korea have been ranked as the most corrupt. Now, notwithstanding strong criticism, Danish lawmakers on Tuesday cleared a controversial bill that seeks to deter refugees from entering the nation. The so-called jewellery bill allows Danish police to confiscate valuables for refugees to pay for their stay.
It's a wrong law and we don't accept this. We condemn it and we protested today and we are going to keep going protest against this new law.
فکرم اینه که بازن دولت دانمارک منصفانه رفتار کنه و ماجرا که بیچاره بهشان پناه میاره بهش سخت نگیره.
Angry migrants trashing the tough Danish immigration law. But Danish lawmakers are quite certain that the jewellery bill is a fair deal. They claim the new policy brings refugees in line with unemployed Danes who also have to sell assets above a certain level to claim benefits. The law was passed in the parliament by 81 votes to 27 with 1 abstention.
Om at Danmark ikke tager sin del. Vi tager absolut vores del, når det handler om flygtninge i Europa. Absolut vores del. Og det er jo heller ikke nogen hemmelighed, at når vi står her i dag, så er det jo rent faktisk fordi, at vi ønsker at komme til at tage.
Under the new law, Denmark police can seize valuables worth more than 10,000 Danish kroner from migrants. Items of special sentimental value such as wedding rings, engagement rings, family portraits, decorations and medals are exempted. But watches, mobile phones and computers can be confiscated. MPs also approved plans to delay family reunions for asylum seekers. The international community, including the United Nations, is concerned about the new law.
Decision to give Danish police the authority to search and confiscate valuables from asylum seekers sends damaging messages in our view. It runs the risk of fueling sentiments of fear and discrimination rather than promoting solidarity with people in need of protection. On the limited access to family reunification, we just remind people of the point that family unity is a fundamental principle in international law.
Denmark is not the only country trying to shut its doors to migrants. Switzerland has also started taking valuables from refugees worth more than 1,000 Swiss francs, while the German state of Baden-Württemberg is taking valuables worth more than 350 euros. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, US Secretary of State John Kerry is in China for a 2-day visit. Kerry met Chinese President Xi Jinping and spent over 4 hours with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi and other senior officials in Beijing to discuss a host of bilateral issues. During the visit, Kerry pressed China to step up pressure for more curbs in North Korea after its recent hydrogen nuclear bomb test. He also told China to tone down its aggressive actions in the South China Sea. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, on the other hand, told the United States to keep its commitment to the One China policy and take concrete actions to support the peaceful development of cross-strait relations.
We look forward to working with China, which China agreed today to do, to engage in an accelerated effort at the United Nations, instructing both of our representatives to work together to try to achieve an understanding about the strong resolution that introduces significant new measures to curtail North Korea's ability to advance its prescribed nuclear and ballistic missile programs.
南海诸岛自古以来就是中国的领土，中方有权维护自己的领土主权和合法正当的海洋权益。同时，中国坚定致力于维护南海的和平稳定，坚持通过对话管控分歧，通过谈判协商和平解决争议。
Some more international news now on Global Buzz. Brazilian officials have stepped up efforts to battle the rapid spread of the mosquito-borne Zika virus, which has been linked to babies being born with underdeveloped brains. Roughly 4,000 suspected cases have been reported in Brazil since October, compared with 150 cases reported in all of 2014. US President Barack Obama has called for urgent action against the Zika virus, even as the WHO says the virus is likely to spread across nearly all of the Americas. Multiple bombings struck a government-run checkpoint in the Syrian city of Homs on Tuesday. The bombs killed at least 20 people, wounding over 100. The attack took place ahead of a UN-backed peace talk scheduled in Geneva on Friday. The Office of the UN Envoy for Syria said it had sent out invitations for the talks, but the opposition is still undecided about whether it will attend. Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras has launched a vocal defense of plans to overhaul the country's pension system. Amid escalating protests, Tsipras said that the country had no choice but to reform a system that had created chronic deficits. He also challenged his main opposition rivals, who have said they will vote against the reforms to come up with a better plan. In sports now, and news from day 10 of the Australian Open, and Angelique Kerber stunned a two-time champion Victoria Azarenka on Wednesday for a last-floor clash against Johanna Konta, the first British woman in a Grand Slam in 33 years. While in the men's draw, British number one Andy Murray saw Spain's David Ferrer to reach his sixth Melbourne semi-final and will play against teen sensation Milos Raonic.
German Angelique Kerber booked a place in her first ever Australian Open semi-final with a fearless straight sets victory against Victoria Azarenka. Kerber had lost all 6 of her previous meetings against the two-time champion, but her aggressive play this time ended with a 6-3, 7-5 victory.
I played very well. I mean, I was playing my game from the first point, and also when I was down 2-5, I was actually playing more aggressive on this time, and I think that was the key. I served very well and moving good. So I think the key from this match was that I was playing and I won the match. She doesn't lose it. I won it.
On another court, opportunity knocked for Johanna Konta, who seized it with both hands to go storming into the semi-finals. The 24-year-old British number one, who had never even played in the main draw of this event before, defeated China's Zheng Shuai 6-4, 6-1 in an hour and 23 minutes. Konta thereby became the first British woman since 1983 to make it to the last 4 of a Grand Slam. In the men's draw, world number 2 Andy Murray persevered to defeat Spain's David Ferrer 6-3, 6-7, 6-2, 6-3 to move into his 6th semi-final in 7 years at the Australian Open on Wednesday.
Was feeling good. You know, that first game after the delay was very important. I saved a couple of break points, but didn't actually play a good game. So it was nice to get through that game, and then I felt like started to play better as the match went on.
Murray will play Milos Raonic, who defeated Gael Monfils 6-3, 3-6, 6-3, 6-4 to earn a spot in his second career Grand Slam semi-final.
Women's doubles top seeds Sania Mirza and Martina Hingis hardly broke sweat on their way to victory in their 35th successive match and enter the women's doubles final. The Indo-Swiss pair took only 54 minutes to beat the German-Czech 13 seeds Julia Georges and Karolina Pliskova 6-1, 6-0. They will take on Czech 7 seeds Andrea Hlakova and Lucy Radeka in the final to earn their 8th title on the trot. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Some more sports action now on Sportsbeat. Ace Indian shooter Hina Sindhu on Wednesday claimed an Olympic quota by bagging the gold medal in the 10-meter air pistol at the Asia Olympic qualifying competition in New Delhi. Despite starting off with an average score of 9.8, she managed to stay ahead for most of the 20 shots final round. This was India's 9th quota from shooting for the Olympics. Five-time world champion Vishwanathan Anand made a disappointing start to his campaign at the Tradewise Gibraltar Chess Festival. Anand was held to a draw by international master Zidonia Lazrane-Vaida of Hungary in the opening round of the Masters section. Playing in a Swiss Open for the first time in 23 years, Anand failed to get into the groove and the Hungarian woman matched him move for move. FIFA's ad hoc electoral committee formally admitted 5 candidates to stand for the presidency of soccer's global governing body at an election on the 26th of February. The 5 are Prince Ali bin Al Hussein of Jordan, Sheikh Salman bin Ibrahim Al Khalifa of Bahrain, Jerome Champagne of France, Gianni Infantino of Italy and Switzerland, and Tokyo Sexwell of South Africa. Candidates are bidding to replace Sepp Blatter, whose presidency ended on December 21st last year. Paraguayan Alejandro Dominguez was unanimously elected president of the South American Football Confederation after his only rival withdrew his candidacy. Dominguez received all 10 votes and takes over from interim president Vilma Valdez, who replaced Juan Angel Napu in December after he was arrested in Zurich. Italian police seized assets on Tuesday from soccer players, their agents and club executives as part of a tax evasion probe in the country's top 2 divisions. Tax police in Naples seized cash, stocks and property worth more than 12 million euros from 58 people involved in professional soccer across the country. Well, that's the news tonight. Good night.